Today, we are going to tell you the story of how Maestro Stu saved the zoo. But before we do, we're going to introduce you to some characters of the story, as well as to something called idioms. The main character of the story is Stu, a young boy who is represented by a theme played in the trumpet. Another character in the story is a grumpy person called Mr. Cooper, who wants to get rid of the zoo. He is represented by the bassoon and muted trombone. Since this is a story about a zoo, many of the other characters are animals, and some of the musical instruments try to sound like animals. For instance, the timpani tries to sound like a roaring lion. The flute imitates the songs of a bird. The oboe and muted trumpet do their version of the sounds of an ape. The percussion family has instruments that sound like certain animals, such as the bird whistle, and the frog gyro. Other instruments portray animals, much like an actor pretends to be a character by playing a musical theme. For instance, the tuba is the largest instrument of the brass family. And since this is the largest, what animal do you expect it would be? The elephant, of course! The oboe plays the part of the penguin. While the violin imitates the actual sound of a penguin. With the other instruments sounding like a penguin pacing, the music sounds like this. In this story, many idioms are used. An idiom is a group of words or a phrase that sometimes sound funny but mean something else. For instance, Stu is tucked into bed snug as a bug on a rug. What do you think that means? And the composers tried to make the music sound like snug as a bug in a rug by using the string family. Another idiom is doom and gloom. What does that mean? The composer makes the music of doom and gloom sound like this. In the story, Polar Bear sounds like he's coming apart at the seams, and it sounds like this. How do you think Polar Bear felt? The animals at one point are said to be in an uproar. What do you think that means? In this story, the music sounds like an uproar. In the story, Mr. Cooper becomes mad as a wet hen and throws a fit. Do you think he was happy? How do you think he felt? The music sounds like this. That gives you an idea of some of the characters and idioms. Now, we will present the story by Denise Brennan-Nelson called Maestro Stu Saves the Zoo.